having me, Bruce. My name is Wherley. I'm honored to be speaking here today. I'm appalled that we even have to be recognizing this date in history, this black eye on the state of Wisconsin. I was thinking about writing something down for a couple days for this, and then I realized that would be pointless because part of this whole event, this non-group solidarity sing-along, is that you never know how you're going to be feeling in a moment, and I want to kind of go with what I was feeling right now. So when I think back to this day, clearly we're here acknowledging this day because of the, just as I said, appalling, illegal, as now proven by judge after 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 judge, blatantly unconstitutional law rules. I'm sorry, these are not laws, these are rules that are blatantly in violation of the First and Fourth Amendments to the United States Constitution and Article 1, Section 4 of our state constitution right here, which says, as I'm sure you all know, the right of the people peaceably to assemble, to consult for the common good, and to petition our government, or any department thereof, shall never be abridged. And this day is about those arrests, in some respects, because if they hadn't started the mass arrests, we wouldn't be here today. But it's about far more than that. It's appalling that we have to be here and acknowledge that this was the date that our state and its leadership went from being covertly fascist to overtly fascist by using its state police wing to arrest people for the crime of singing without a permit because there were more than 3 people of them assembled at the same time. Ridiculous. We knew this was going to happen. We could see it coming, for the writing was on the wall since December of 2011 when they put the unconstitutional access policy and rules in effect. We knew this was going to happen, and yet people kept showing up and singing every single day. 12 to 1, people were showing up outside of the noon hour to hold signs, hold banners, chalk the sidewalks, all things which have previously been acknowledged as protected under constitutional law and individual rights. But yes, I could go on about how terrible the legislation is that they passed. The reason that we're here every single day for those of us who can be here. The fact that they kicked 60,000 people off of the rolls of Badger Care only to claim, oh, everyone will be covered, we're just going to fill the gaps. This week, 40,000 people, it was ruled, did not have those gaps filled and are now going without health insurance because of this regime. We could be here because of that. We could be here because of the fact that there's Native Americans who have federally protected rights up in the northern portion and the western portion of our state who are having to deal with frac sand mines and the idea of a giant open pit iron mine. Those people who can't be here on a regular basis. We could be here for that. We could be here for the fact that we have a state that decides it's okay to say that women shouldn't have access to birth control, or that Planned Parenthood shouldn't have a right to exist. We could be here for that reason. Or we could just be here for the fact that we have an obligation as people who are close enough that we can be here as often as humanly possible to provide a voice for the people who cannot be here, either due to distance, due to health concerns, due to financial concerns. There is a whole multitude of people who have been under attack in this state, primarily the elderly, children, public schools, the poor, who they don't have a voice. So it's our job to be that voice for those people. And so while we're here for those arrests, today isn't about the arrests. Today is about all the people. Many of you, in fact, every single one of you that I see out here, I know has been to a sing-along at some point, has been to a rally at the Capitol, has testified on important legislation. Today, this isn't about the arrests. This is about the people who kept showing up day after day after day and continue to show up in spite of the arrests, because of the arrests, regardless of the arrests. People are coming because it's important. We have an obligation on us, as I believe I put on a sign today. Martin Luther King Jr. said, basically, one has a moral responsibility to defy unjust laws or bullshit rules, as in the case of the DOA. So for the people So for the people who have been coming, when I look out and I see faces, I see friendly faces, I see people I've known for years, I see people who I've barely even spoken a word to. It's all about this, because the idea that's been going around for the last year is that the idea of being unintimidated came about because of the arrests. We all know that's not the case. The arrests came about because the people were unintimidated for year after year and continue to be. People who've shown up, who've given up hundreds of hours of their lives, who've been through ridiculous turmoil that they shouldn't have to go through just to exercise their First Amendment rights. Things that we took as something that was for granted, especially in the spring and winter and summer and fall of 2011. But yet we learned quickly that those things can't be taken for granted. And because people decided that we weren't going to take it anymore, then they finally decided they had to act. And because people have been unintimidated and kept that spirit going for the past 3.5 years, we are still here, and no one is going anywhere. So yes, as many of you are aware, dozens and dozens of us worked on a book called Unintimidated, Wisconsin Sings Truth to Power. This isn't a pitch for the book. This is just promoting the idea behind it that the arrests are one portion of something that continues to go on and will continue to go on as long as this fascist regime is in power. Someone that defies the rule of law, that engages in criminal schemes to try to get reelected. No, the First Amendment that we were fighting for is the one that includes the right to freedom of speech, to peaceably assemble, to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Not what the Walker administration believes, that the First Amendment is the right for public schools to discriminate against with racist, bigoted mascots and logos. That's their idea of the First Amendment. Their idea of the First Amendment is the idea that they can secretly dump millions of dollars through criminal schemes in the elections so you can't know who is representing you. That's their idea of the First Amendment. That's not why so many hundreds of people showed up and took these arrests. They took these arrests to speak up for the people who have gone before us, people who have died for this right, people who have taken bullets for this right, people who have given their entire lives for the right to speak out against their government. And that's why we're here today, and that's why those arrests happened, because they weren't okay with that. Well, as someone I didn't take any arrests, I was never ticketed, I was here on days when they did it, but unfortunately, or fortunately, I was never arrested. I cannot thank all of you who did enough for the fact that you stood up, you sat there, you took it, whether you stayed or you left. The fact that you were here, you took a stand against oppressive government action of citizens' rights, to stand up and speak out on their behalf and say, we're not going to take this anymore. I couldn't be more proud. I have no idea what kind of stress all of you have been going through. I can relate, but I can't empathize. So I thank you very much. I want you to remember, I want people to remember, we're here because of what happened July 24th, 2013. But we're still here doing this a year later because of what happened for 2.5 years before that, and the fact that no one went away, and we're not going away. We'll be here until justice holds sway.